Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike here with Freight to Freedom. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a long time. I've just been busy selling sheds, kids' birthdays, stuff like that. Just kind of been all over the place. So, yeah, if you guys are new, welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and I was a truck driver for 10 or 11 years or so. 10 and a half, we'll say 10 and a half years. And basically I got out of the truck and I made this YouTube channel, and I am figuring out ways to make money. And basically this is just a journey, a vlog, and whatever you want to call it, to help you guys and help myself figure out ways of making money and getting out of the truck, staying out of the truck, and just trying to flourish and just be happy. You know what I mean? So basically I started this channel, and I've got my little production set up. Actually, it's really cool. Put these really cool lights back here. Yeah. So, but anyway, guys, I'm just an average guy, and I've got a family, got 2 kids, got a wife, and it was just really taking a toll on myself and my family, but mostly myself, man. To be honest with you, it was just too many hours. It was too much for me. You know what I mean? So, the 14, 16 hours, whatever you want to call them, just working all day, dude. And, it was really good money. I made $100K. I was averaging like 97 to 100K last year. Just got my W-2s. I hit 103K. So, it was good money. You know what I mean? It was good money. But, we were working all the time, and it just got to be too much. Working holidays. The one year they only gave us Christmas off. You know what I mean? I was working Thanksgiving, July 4th. Dude, I was working all of them. You know what I mean? I just got tired of it. I just got tired of being thrown around and just being used. It's not me. It's not me. You know what I mean? So I'm out of the truck and I'm trying to make money. I've been out for like 3 months now. I'm going off of my other videos. Like, I started with like 2 months, and then I started with like 2.5 months. You know what I mean? So, but now is like 3 months. And in case you're wondering, like this right here, dude, I'm just recording in a corner of my room. That was a bad experiment gone wrong. It just kind of exploded. It just kind of exploded on my roof. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother story. So yeah, I just got tired of truck driving, and I just figured I'd give it a shot and get out. What I'm doing right now, the first step that really helped me, everything just kind of aligned. You know what I mean? So the first thing was, like, my wife has been selling sheds and doing online stuff. Those little like shed lots that are, popping up all over the place. She's been doing it for a while. She's been selling sheds and metal buildings and cardboards and stuff like that. And, it's just a really good opportunity for her to take our kids, with her to work too, because freaking daycare, dude, is like, that's like a whole paycheck right there. You know what I mean? For a week. So like, we can't do that, dude. It's crazy. You probably hear my kids in the background now. I'm trying to be kind of quiet. I don't want them to hear me and start coming here and be like, Daddy, what are you doing? Daddy, what's going on in there? But it was just too much money for daycare, dude. It's crazy. And, so it's just a good opportunity for her to make money and be out of the shed. You know what I mean? So, be out of the shed. I don't even know what I'm talking about, dude. To not put our kid in daycare. And the guy was looking for another person at the lot that's close by, that's local. You know what I mean? And he was like, I'm looking for somebody right now, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, I really freaking hate driving a truck, and this company's, I don't know if I'm allowed to say retarded, but it was retarded. No offense to anybody with special needs, but it was dumb. And so I was like, you know what? Wednesday, this is a funny story too, actually. I might as well tell you while we're here, talking. So, yeah, Wednesday, we had a video call on Tuesday, and he was like, yeah, let me know by Thursday. Just let me know where you're at. What do you want to do? Now, granted, I've been with this company for like 4 years, 3 months, and like 16 days, but who's really counting? So I was like, man, it's just a big leap of faith. My family's counting on me. We're so used to making this really good money. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I don't know if we can do it, and blah, blah, blah. And so, I think I just kind of made a leap of faith, and I just kind of did it. So I cashed out my vacation days on Wednesday, which I had to call them back and make sure I got, by the way, because they were like, I was like, where's my vacation day? They were like, well, I don't know. We didn't get it. Not too sure what's going on. That sort of thing. And then, and I was like, it's dumb. But that was like way after the fact. This was like a month after being out of the truck, dude. And I was like, well, okay, I got all my stuff. I'm not missing. I should have like an extra, blah, 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 whatever. So then I was like, did that Wednesday. I was like, Thursday. I was all Fridays and Saturdays, day shift. So I was like, you know what? I think Thursday is going to be my last day, dude. I think I'm just going to do it. I think I'm just going to jump in and do it. And I thought that all day, dude, driving down the highway, bouncing around, getting cut off, getting brake checked, people throwing Molotov cocktails. Now I just get, but it was like, I was like all day just bouncing around and just thinking about it. I was like, I think I'm just ready, dude. I'm just ready. My mental health was like right there at the limit, and just with driving any of that stuff in general. And so Thursday, you listening to me? Anyway, Thursday, went out driving, just bounced, and get out to my relay point, swapping trailers. And it was just a rough ride coming back. Man, it was rough, just bouncing, slamming on the ground. I'm like, man, what is going on, dude? I've got a bad back too. So that was like some of the factors, you know what I mean? That kind of all tied into all this. It wasn't just like, oh, I just hate truck driving, blah, 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 or else I would have just sucked it up and just found another driving job. But I just, my health, mental, physical, so I was just slamming. And there's really nowhere to pull off this whole time until I got to the tolls, which was like an hour. It's like an hour drive, 65 miles an hour. That's what we were governed at, of course. And get to the tolls, and I get out, and I'm like, man, why is this? And I get out, and I'm looking. Well, it turns out that my airbag leveling valve, my leveler valve, was stuck open. So I was freaking bouncing down the road, hammering down. I didn't hear any air. My air pressure kind of stayed the same. It kind of, you know what I mean? So it was like one of those things where it was like I couldn't really hear anything. And so yeah, anyway, I just seen it, and I was like, man, you gotta be kidding me, dude. So, I called breakdown, did that whole thing, and I know you guys are thinking this whole time, you're like, you don't even look like a truck driver. You're not 750 pounds. And man, I've been driving for so long. So even right after high school, I did 4 years in the Marine Corps. So I am a veteran. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and I was motor T. I was motor T when I was in. I drove trucks. I drove all the Humvees, the 7 tons. I drove all that stuff. There's my daughter. I'm making a video. Anyway, that's, she can unlock the door anyway, so I didn't even lock it. But so I was driving seven, so I've always been a part of driving and like fixing stuff and moving stuff. And that's just I just got so good at it. I mean, I can drive, I can drive a manual. Paisley, I'm making a video, dude. I'm going to have to freaking edit that out. This is where video editing comes in. I tried to be raw, but I don't think I can do it. But so anyway, it's always been a part of me, driving, moving, shifting. I've always done stuff like that. So then I got out, just kind of carried over here, was jockeying, got my CD out, so. But anyway, I'm at the toll plaza, and I'm like, dude, I called broken down. I'm like, Thursday. I'm like, last day. I'm like, this is my last day. I'm never going to drive again. And it's like the trucking industry was just like, we're just going to give you one good, we're just going to get you bent over one good last time. Just one more time before you get out of here, because we know you're going. And so anyway, part two. Where was I? So I'm broke down at this toll plaza, and guy comes out. Okay, yeah, I'll bring this. Brings it out, fixes it, and then he climbs up into the cab. I'm like, all right, cool. And then he starts doing the level, dropping the suspension inside the cab, the little rocker switch. And so then the button's all jacked up. And broke. And I'm like, he's sitting there messing with it, pulls it out. He's got a screwdriver on it. And he's like, oh, yeah. It's like, looks like the button's broken on here. He's like, looks like I'm going to have to fix that too. I'm like, look, dude, not for nothing. I said, I'm done driving anyway. I said, I'm quitting today. I said, this is it. I said, is there any way I can just freaking drive with this thing with like a screwdriver? Like, can I just rig this thing up and just go back? Because I'll let them deal with it. You know what I mean? And I just want to get out of here. So he's like, oh, no. We're not far. It'll only take me a couple minutes. So I'm like, cool. That sounds great. I'll see you when you get back. So that day was probably honestly a little more than 16 hours. Just a little more than 16. And so anyway, as soon as it got done, got it fixed, driving back this whole time, I'm like, dude, I cannot believe this happened on my last day. So I'm driving back this whole time. I'm like, yeah, dude, this is it. I'm done. I'm going to do it. I'm like psyching myself out. I'm like, I'm going to do it. And so anyway, I get back. I drop my trailer. Dude, I'm tired. I'm so tired. And I get back. I drop my trailer. And I'm like, yep, I think this is it. This is it, brother. So I got on the phone with dispatch. I said, hey, what's going on? He said, hey, this is Ricky Bobby. I said, hey, Ricky Bobby. I said, can you do me a favor? He said, yeah, sure. He said, my driver manager. I said, blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah. I said, can you relay a message to him? He said, yeah, sure, no problem. He said, what is it? I said, tell him I quit. And he was like, oh. And I was like, yep. I was like, thanks, buddy. I'll see you later. And I hung up. And that was it, dude. So anyway, I made this whole channel, in the mindset of like, dude, there's got to be other drivers. Of course, you guys, you have to think that like the money is good. Of course the money is good, dude. The money is real good. And I know for a lot of you guys that you're the sole provider of your family. You have a stay-at-home wife. But that's why I'm like making this channel to like throw out ideas. So, it can kind of help you do stuff like when you're in the sleeper berth or on your downtime or your home time, when you're sitting in the dock, you know, just to kind of get the juices flowing of like stuff that you can do to make money. And then hopefully you can be like, at a certain point, you could be like, all right, now I can cut back my hours. You know, I'm making this much money here, you know, and, you know, even truck driving, like it is good money. There's a lot of jobs that aren't good money. You know what I mean? We were actually getting paid really good. And that was one of the things about the company that they wanted. They wanted to pay us good. They wanted to pay us by the hour, double time after 8 hours. You know what I mean? So there was no, you know, of course they did go to mileage before I left, you know, so they, you know, they had a bunch of people that were stealing time. You're going to have that with getting paid hourly. You know what I mean? You're going to have people that are like that. You know, those short runs, those customer runs where it's only a couple hours away, they're taking 12 hours to do it. And we were like, yeah, you know, this is the dude. That's the guy, you know. And then they were like, they never do anything to those people that are stealing time. You know what I mean? So they were all about just safety, going slow. But then when people were stealing time, they didn't want to do anything about it. You know what I mean? So it was crazy. Like my brain was just about to explode. And I was like, you know, put me in that seat and I will shape up. I wasn't going to curse. I will shape this place up pretty fast. I can tell you that. But anyway, you know, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear blah, blah, blah. They don't want to hear people complaining. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. So anyway, it just turned into a mess. So I got out and I started selling sheds. You know, the guy was looking for somebody to sell sheds. And with me and my wife together, we're not making buku bucks, but we're probably making in between like $700 and $8,500 a month. You know what I mean? And that's a little more than what I was making there. You know what I mean? I was bringing home 15, 16, you know, pushing every once in a while, 17, 18 a week. You know what I mean? A week, bring home a week. It was really good money. But you know what? The other thing is too, is that my wife was she was spending all my money. You know what I mean? So I was making more, we were spending more. That was also one of her problems, not my problem. So that was a big issue. So now that we're not making a lot of money, she's not spending as much money. I'm like, dude, you know how much money we could have by now? You know what I mean? And so anyway, idea. So let's get back to the ideas. So in some of my other shorts and in some of my other videos, I did give a couple of ideas about buying. One of them was like making, buying websites. You can buy e-com web certs. That was on Flippa.com. You know, buying e-com websites, regular websites, blogs. You know, different stuff online. So the whole idea is to find stuff online. So my big thing was, I had a really great idea and I was going to do it this year. I was just tired. You know, you get busy every weekend, and you know, after a regular day of like 13 hours, you know what I mean? 13 and a half hours every day. I just didn't have the motivation, to be honest with you. I was just exhausted. And so my idea was, in some of my other videos, again, I started talking about turning your liabilities into assets. And what I mean by that is, like, if you have stuff, if you have items that are, you put money into it, your cars, this, that, four-wheelers, whatever, a log splitter, to turn those liabilities, instead of using it for yourself, to turn it into a money making machine. You know what I mean? So I have like a little speedboat. It's a little 150 horsepower Mercury with it's a 17-foot like little speedboat. It's an older boat, but my idea with that was to turn my liability, my boat, into a business. So I was gonna turn it into a water sports and charter business on the river. You know what I mean? So I was gonna turn it into. I'm still gonna do it. I think what I'm gonna do is, instead of doing it myself and driving the boat myself, doing the work myself, is focus on the managerial part. And what I'll do is probably next year is I'll have, hopefully I'm still out of the truck, but is to have somebody else run the boats, and so I can focus on, running the business. Because an entrepreneurial mindset, you need to change your mindset into, I just need to hustle more, I just need to do more, and turning that mindset into outsourcing. At a certain point, you know what I mean, you can start it yourself and then start to slowly. But with this, I think I just want to go full out and just pay other people. You know what I mean? So I think I'm just going to pay for someone to get their captain's license, maybe 2 people. I don't know. So grand total to get your captain's license is somewhere, between $1,200 and $1,800, something like that. Where you got to do these, you got to fill out these packets for the Coast Guard. So it's a lot of stuff. Like, you have to get your TWIC card. You got to get a physical. We were all used to DOT physicals, a drug test, stuff like that. And just compile all this stuff, send it to the Coast Guard, and then you have to take a course. So you have to take a Coast Guard approved course. You can do it in person, you can. But like I said, a lot of us don't have time. So I found a company called Mariners Learning Systems, which is all online, and it helps you get your captain's license. So basically I signed up with that. And the really other cool thing about that is that I signed up for, I got my business bank account and stuff like that through my bank. I put in the $250 to start the bank account, stuff like that. And, I signed up for this course, and I can also, I signed up for like that Afterpay, like whatever it is, Klarna or Shop Pay or whatever it was, whatever they use. And I'm paying $72 a month. So that course alone was, everything together, materials, was like $1,000, and I'm paying like $72 a month. You know what I mean? I haven't gone through the courses or anything like that. I could probably do a review, let you guys know about that if that's something that you're interested in. But, you can get, so the basis of it is like OUPV 6-pack. It's like a operator of unmanned the passenger vehicles for 6 people. For up to 6 people. That's the first one. That's the first step to take people out paid, paid passengers. And then it starts getting into the captains and stuff like that. But to get the masters, but to get the masters, you got to have like a buttload of time. And, over the years that I've had the boat, I've got a lot of time. And, you have to fill out your time and send it in and stuff like that. So anyway, talking about the liabilities to assets, it's just, it could be anything that you have that you can turn into a business. If you can't do something like that on the weekends or on your home time or on your free time to make money and build the business up and make extra money, I'm trying to find stuff that's online that you guys can do on your downtime. You know what I mean? Like I said, that's a little bit more practical. You know what I mean? So, and then the other side of it is that, you need to look at, do you have time or do you have money? You only have two of those things. You know what I mean? To start a business or start whatever and start making money. You know what I mean? So and by that I mean time and money. By time, do you have a good bit of time to work like a service-based business, go out, whatever, mowing lawns, painting mechanic work, whatever, to be hands-on and out doing stuff? Or, as truck drivers, yes, we do make pretty good money. So that's the other thing, is that we have money. So you want to, start saving money and start thinking about, do you want to buy a business? Do you want to invest in, something that you're, starting something, starting up in the, trying to think here, like the systems and the day-to-day operations, like stuff that's going to help the business, you know what I mean? Like paying for ChatGPT. And by the way, guys, if you don't have ChatGPT, I know there's still a lot of people that out there don't like AI. Get ChatGPT. ChatGPT has been literally my best friend, and it's not always accurate, but I'll tell you what, it points me in a good enough direction to where I need to go, or that I can think of, to get me to where I need to be. Does that make sense? So it doesn't give me exactly, like sometimes it's like off, it's different state by state, whatever kind of questions you have, blah, blah, blah. But it gets me to the right destination, and sometimes to the right people, to talk to be able to get and do what I need to do to make money. So, but yeah, anyway, that's my liability into an asset. Is I have a boat. It's just sitting there. We're taking it out and it's depreciating. You know what I mean? You're putting gas into it, spark plugs, you're putting miles, blah, 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 taking damage, taking damage, whatever. And I'm just turning it into something. I'm going to turn it into something that I can make money with. You know what I mean? And I may just start with just the speedboat. And then I'll upgrade, to a pontoon boat and like a jet ski. And the jet ski being, I will be on the jet ski just on standby, just hanging out, relaxing and chilling in case there's a breakdown. You know what I mean? So I've already thought about that, because if you break down, I'm like, what would be a nightmare is if we're just out there on the boat, just driving around, and all of a sudden it just stops. And then, you have a couple of paddles and you have a couple of customers and you're like, hey guys, I'll give you a refund if you help me paddle back or flag someone down that can tow us to, you know what I mean? I'm just like, that would be just a freaking nightmare. Kind of embarrassing, kind of ghetto too, to be honest with you, just a little ghetto. So, I've just been trying to get my ducks in a row and thinking about how I can do stuff like that. And, later down the line, bigger parties, the pontoon boats, the bigger parties with the pontoons, just going to Enterprise and just renting those big old vans, so just renting the big vans whenever I have a big, huge party and just picking them up at their house, taking them out for the day, and then taking them home. You know what I mean? How fantastic and it's just the river. I'm just doing this stuff on the river. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm in West Virginia, so I'm just going to be doing this stuff on the Potomac. But yeah, anyway, I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about in this video. I just want to tell you guys that I'm going to be posting a little bit more and probably going to be trying to do 2 videos a week. And just trying to pump out information, for my 4 subscribers, Hopefully you guys are watching these videos and don't get bored with me and me and my sinuses, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's a whole nother story right there. I can't even breathe out of my nose, you know what I mean? Getting allergy shots and all this other stuff. So, but yeah, it's, you know, with these videos, like I said, I want to try to make them as raw as possible and as very little editing as possible, just to give you guys a raw effect of, you know, like, I'm just a real person. I'm not a guru. You probably hear my kids in the background right now. You know what I mean? I'm just a real guy, just trying to make money and just trying to help you guys. And I'm hoping that I get more subscribers and more people watching, more people commenting that can, you know, that can help you guys too. You know, that we can build a community together to help each other get out of the truck. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it is, you know, investing, it doesn't matter, you know, just to help each other and connect and get with each other. Because I know for a fact that we're all just watching YouTube when we get bored. And of course, those veteran truck drivers, I don't watch YouTube, I just listen to the country channel all day long. I know we're all just watching YouTube videos, because like I was, and I was just scrolling. But the other thing is too, before I go, guys, start thinking about and just YouTube, and just start searching like business ideas, getting out of trucking, you know what I mean? Just start researching different stuff and just start learning about building a business, you know, managing a business, just learning about different stuff and programs that can help you. And, you know, also hopefully that'll kind of help you stumble upon something in an idea, and something will click and you'll be like, oh man, that sounds really cool. That sounds like something I can do. And then you start weighing your options while you're driving. You're like, well, I do have time, this, and this. I can do that. I can like call customers when I'm driving. I can't do that because I can't focus like I can when I'm not driving, when I'm calling, you know what I mean? Because like I wanted to try and start doing like a social media marketing thing. And that's another idea, you know what I mean? I'll get into more details about that. But like I tried that. Like I tried calling customers while I was driving, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was talking and looking around, you know, and next thing I knew, I'm like, oh man, I'm 30 miles down the road, you know? So, but yeah, anyway, guys, hopefully you guys stay tuned. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Biggest thing, subscribe, and just keep watching the videos. You know what I mean? We got a lot of juicy stuff coming, or I hope I will. Hope we got a lot of juicy stuff coming. All right. See you guys.